I do want to say she is an extremely special guest, and we have the honor of having her here. She also is on our science advisory board. I do want to talk a little bit about Nancy's background because I do feel that it's very important. Um, and she will go ahead and tell her story. But Nancy is a first and foremost a breast cancer and melanoma survivor. And it was one of the main reasons why she chose LifeVantage. She is a doctor of pharmacology. She has a bachelor's degree in biochemistry. She's a certified diabetic educator, a certified geriatric pharmacist, a certified human and veterinarian pharmacist and formulator. And she also helps formulate products for LifeVantage. I don't know if I missed anything, but I do want you to add in if I did, because it's very profound that we have Dr. Nancy in LifeVantage to begin with. And I think through the evening, you're going to find out exactly why she decided to join as a doctor herself and why thousands of other doctors are joining LifeVantage. I just wanted to just give a brief um, introduction to myself and how I found LifeVantage and started with LifeVantage. My husband Brody and I actually joined. Um, Actually, in a couple weeks, it'll be 8 years ago, and we joined because I was very sick, and I had been sick for 7 years. And it was one of the situations where I tried everything from doctors, multiple doctors, to more natural um, experiences. I'm more of a natural person, and you'll find out why. My body does not like toxins. And I decided when LifeVantage came my way that I needed to look at the science and the validation. Um, I looked, I probably asked 4 billion questions in the beginning because I knew that if I were going to move forward with this, that I would be 1,000,000% sure in my decision. I took the products 8 years ago, and within 5 days, I had a complete transformation in my health. And I know that doesn't happen for everybody, but I do feel it's a very much a God thing for me and how I found LifeVantage and it came into my life. And I will forever be grateful because not only did I get my health back, my husband got his wife back, and my two sons got their mom back, which is the most important thing. And it has proven to be one of the best experiences of my entire life, not only from a product perspective, but from a community perspective as well. The people in this company, Nancy being one of my closest friends within this company, we worked very closely together in the last 8 years and um, have a lot left of travel to do together. But I do want to hand it over to Nancy to kind of kick things off and really kind of dig deep into her story and why a doctor of pharmacology would actually look at a company like ours.
Oh, Kim, it's such an honor to be here. And thank you so much. Yes, I think if I could say anything about the joy that I have with this, it's the community that we have within this company is just the most amazing people. You clearly are one of them. And it's been such a help to me because as a scientist and a person dealing with healthcare and all those kinds of things, one of the things I don't have a great background in is business. And I so appreciated early on us working together as a team and being able to really move forward and help each other with our excitement early on. So just a quick background. As Kim stated earlier, my background, I'm a doctor of pharmacology, doctor of pharmacy. I specialize in about every area of pharmacy there is. I really got tired of taking care of people for a while, so I did a lot with animals. I have a daughter who's a veterinarian. I was doing all those things, but one of the things I did not do very well was manage my own health in terms of I was one of the healthiest people I knew. I was exercising, I was doing all the things I did, but I did not manage making sure that I was resting and taking care of just having that inside time for myself. And so through that, I ended up having, oh, and I apologize for the traffic here, sorry. I ended up having a really terrible form of breast cancer. Was told that I was going to have very little time left. And so I had no choice but to go through several surgeries and chemotherapy and a lot of different things. And I got through all of those. And when it was all the way through with all of that, I was not well. I was in a wheelchair. I was on medications. I was going to be on the rest of my life, they told me. And I was just not doing well. And I just got to a point where it's like, is it worth it? Right. And then I got a melanoma. And it was through a dear friend of mine who was a surfer. This is so important for you to hear. A surfer is who showed me this. Believe it or not, he showed me a study at Louisiana State University that had to do with melanomas. And when I saw it, like you, Kim, I started doing all kinds of research. And that research led me to the conclusion that I needed to try this for my body. And if it really did what they were telling me and showing me it did, that maybe I had a chance. And that's all I was looking for. I wasn't looking for a company. I was looking to feel better. And I was so grateful because in a short period of time, things in my health changed so dramatically that I was able to get off some of those medications because my own body was taking care of itself again. And better than that was other people started seeing me living my life again, including myself. And that brought me to a point where I said, you know what? I need to look further into this. And that's when I had the chance to meet Kim and really take a look at, you know what, who else can I share this with? So that started me on my journey. So tonight, what we'd like to talk to you a little bit about is the reason that I was so excited had to do with the fact that these weren't just supplements. I knew all kinds of supplements. I knew all those types of things. I was making a lot of them, but I knew they weren't what could help me the most. And it was the science behind this that really, truly made a huge impact. So what are we talking about? We're talking about the fact that back, when I first started looking at this, we were going through trends of people being on tons of medications. People were doing exercise. They were learning all the kinds of things to do when it came to health. But you know what? I still saw people failing. And I was looking deeper. I wanted to see. And as a molecular biochemist, I always knew it had to start on the inside. It had to start with our cells on the inside. And I wasn't seeing that action taken. So what are we talking about? We're talking about all of the people that we know that are feeling bad and not getting better. It's everything from aches and pains to feeling emotions that they don't want to feel, and just not really having hope. And what are they doing? They're doing everything from the Red Bulls, yes, Ike, to taking the pills because they don't know what else to do. They go to the doctors, they go to the naturopaths, they go to the chiropractors, they go to everyone, and they're trying. They're doing the best they can. But what's most important is we have to get back to the basics of our cells and cell health. When we take a look at that, we have to take a look at what are the facts that are happening in our bodies. And you know what? We are so bombarded with everything today, everything from, here we are on the Zoom. If something's coming out of the sky that we can do this without wires, we know it's going through our bodies too, right? And then there's all the things in our foods, and there's all the things in the air, and there's all the, and more importantly, the foods that we have don't have what we need in them. We are getting bombarded in so many levels that our poor body isn't getting a chance to recuperate. When you take a look at it, we have healthy cells. And what happens is that healthy cell is traveling along, it's doing its job, but something starts happening in it. And that's called oxidative stress from free radicals. And so we have to find the solutions of what we can do to help these cells to maintain their activity to keep healthy. And Kim, maybe you want to talk just a little bit about what you think we mean by activation, because it's important for people to hear from all different perspectives.
For me, when I looked at this, Protandim NRF2 was something I wanted in my body immediately. I have some genetic challenges, let's just put it that way, where my body does not deal well with any toxins. And I was very, very sick when LifeVantage came into my life. Um, I was desperate for a solution. Nobody had one for me. Um, I was diagnosed with multiple different things. But at that point, I wasn't concerned about a diagnosis. I was concerned about the fact that I was moving my body. I was eating right. I was doing everything that I thought I should be doing. And it still didn't touch um, what this actually did when I started to activate my body. When you start to silence those genetic expressions that start to flip. I it took about 5 days, like I said, before I completely felt a difference. And I know that we'll talk more about the significant reduction in oxidative stress and the boost in antioxidants, most importantly, glutathione, where, if a person like me with genetic challenges where you're not able to detoxify your body, that obviously becomes a very big problem. And I will never, ever stop these products. I know that some people say, well, why do you have to take these products for the rest of your life? This world is not getting any cleaner and it is not going to, unfortunately. I would rather take nutrients and nutrition, herbs, these products and what they are made of versus any sort of man-made substance or pharmaceutical drug, to be very honest. Through my years of research, when I got sick, I really self-advocated myself back to health. I didn't have anybody else to answer my questions. I had to do it for myself, and, I had to do it for my family, and when when I learned about activation and LifeVantage, my mind was actually blown because I had never heard about it before. You hear about inflammation, but you don't hear very much about oxidative stress or NRF2 activation. I did not know what that was. So I'm going to hand it back over to you so that you can kind of explain to people that this isn't supplementation. We are activating our body at the cellular level to do what it was designed to do. And that really made sense to me.
Absolutely, Kim. And you know what? Exactly to your point, I was in that same place. I had genes expressing that were not good genes, and it was because I wasn't taking care of my emotions. I wasn't taking care of some of the things I needed to. And once my body started getting some of the things to help that gene expression again, it made a huge impact at the cellular level. And you know what? We tell people all the time, this doesn't, you were very blessed that it happened in a very short period of time. But what I love to tell people is activation takes time. When you have a cell and you're starting to have that cell start to clean itself out, that cell takes time as it's going. In a normal aging process, that cell gets beat up and has a lot of things happening. And when it has the genetic material go out of it, makes a new cell. The new cell starts out all crumbly and a big mess, right? And as a result of that, we need to have things that are going to help our cell start looking better again so that as it's duplicating, it's staying healthy. And what I love is that we're the activation company in all these different areas. When you take a look at what the company has made the decision to do, it's incredible for me that it started with one little yellow pill, that NRF2 product. And from there, the discovery of knowing we could turn on a pathway in our own body versus supplementing with massive doses brought me in right away with so many questions, but it made me know and understand this was something that was so unique and so helpful to us because guess what? All these different things that we have are activators in different areas. Yes, taking out the trash in that cell with our Protandim NRF2 foundational product is the most important. It's our first breakthrough. It's what we started with. And I'm so grateful for the work that was done. When Dr. McCord found out that there was a pathway in our body to make our own antioxidants that were millions of times more powerful that was the answer to all these oxidative stresses that happen to us. Look at all these things that happen. Everything from cell phones to pesticides, pharmaceuticals, the air, the water, and even the foods we eat. The foods are supposed to be what helps to make our cells healthy and strong, and yet so many of them contain things in them that are doing just the opposite. And so what we are talking about, that oxidative stress starts with free radicals. Our cells have the ability to make their own energy, and when they make that energy, it's through mitochondria, but it has a byproduct of free radicals. It's an oxygen, and that oxygen is bouncing around and causing damage until we can have our antioxidants come out and help it be neutralized. That imbalance creates all these damages that we're talking about. And so first and foremost, as we talk about antioxidants, Kim mentioned glutathione. One of the biggest things that we figured out was that glutathione is one of the most helpful products in our body to reducing all these free radicals and helping each one of our systems to operate better. Well, with this NRF2 pathway, it has been proven to increase our own glutathione levels by 300%. You can't take glutathione from the outside, even with an IV. You cannot attain that through a supplementation, only by activating your own body that it turns on those pathways. Kim, did you want to add anything to that?
You know, I want to ask you a few questions because I do think it's so common. A lot of people will ask me what's in Protandim, and well, I already take turmeric and I already take several different antioxidants. I want you to kind of explain what it means to take it, take Protandim as a whole, why it's so different. But I also think it's important that people understand the dangers of just any supplements that you can buy. A lot of people, I do believe that as much as I love integrative and functional medicine, sometimes I do believe they're operating at the same level as allopathic medicine, where they're using pharmaceuticals to fill a hole. Functional medicine sometimes can over supplement and use those supplements, even if they're, you know, natural, to where you're taking 15 supplements a day because you want to address 15 different things that you might be deficient in. By taking our products, it eliminates that need.
Absolutely. And you know what? I get that question a lot too, because turmeric and milk thistle and ashwagandha and bacopa and green tea are all the components of our NRF2. And I have so many people, well, I do all those things. The thing of it is we've done our own studies to know that when you take each of those individually, most of the time what happens is they're giving quite large amounts of them, and they're kind of shoving a pathway, if you will. When they're combined in a tiny amount in a small ratio, they do something called synergy. That means the power of them all added together is much greater. It's 1,800 times more powerful than each of those ingredients by themselves. And yet it's tiny amounts of them. And what I try to explain to people is it's really more like you're taking in a good food source. It's what we're supposed to be getting done from our food sources. And so that's why I absolutely love the science that's behind our NRF2 product, and the fact that they tested hundreds of combinations before they found this unique combination that does absolutely something that really nothing else has really been proven to do. That's activate our own NRF2 pathway, which is so powerful. The other thing is, to your point,
Go ahead.
I was going to say, to your other point, when we talk about people taking in the supplements, oftentimes what they'll be doing is they'll be taking in massive doses of vitamin C, massive doses of some of these other things, and they can actually be very difficult on your kidneys and on your liver and general overall in your body. They're just too much. And the other thing I want to mention too is our quality controls. When we go ascertain our ingredients for these products, we look for the raw ingredient to contain the activation component of it. most often, a lot of times they'll have crops that don't even have the activating components within them. So when we get those and we test them, if they don't have it, we give that back. That's the stuff they sell to everybody else and sell in GNC. What we have, we know the activation component of that, and it's very, very important. And it's why the FDA gave us the ability to say that we reduce oxidative stress by 40% in 30 days, because we formulate this product in our manufacturing process that we can duplicate it over and over exactly the same to get that same ratio. When you take a look at turmeric, milk thistle, green tea, bacopa, ashwagandha, those ingredients you think are going to be something everybody can get, but I can tell you that there's lots of differences, just like there's a difference in somebody that has a flip-flop from Walmart or a pair of Louis Vuitton flip-flops. You know what? The quality controls make a difference in what it turns out to be. And that's why we can make those claims that lowering the oxidative stress 40% in 30 days and being able to detoxify our cell allows that cell by the end of its lifespan to have genetic material come out, and it's in a better place. It didn't get worse. And guess what? The next cell starts off a little better. That process keeps going so that over time frame, we see each of our systems start to improve. And that's why we are anti-aging. Take a look at the research that we've got here. Everything from the American Heart Association to Harvard, the National Institute on Aging. They tested hundreds of things that were claiming this. And guess what? They couldn't produce the same thing when the National Institute on Aging did that study over a period of time. And yes, it was done on rodents, but that's the only way. I don't have 150 years on myself to try, right? But what it showed was that extended the life of them. That was powerful. And there's no one else that has gotten that accomplished yet. And that study was very, very important. All of these can be found in PubMed.gov. And what's amazing is we did not pay as a company for a lot of these studies. They were done because when people saw what we had, they knew it was outstanding. Washington State University, as a matter of fact, and I think you might have a slide to show, they really, really could not believe what they saw. And here's their conclusion. NRF2 may well become the most extraordinary therapeutic, most extraordinary preventative breakthrough in the history of medicine. Not this week, not this month, not this year. In the history of medicine so far. That was, when I saw that, that's when I was like, okay, I'm in. I got to see where we're going with this. Okay. And guess what? We have more studies from that. To be able to reduce 33% and 57% in the protandem groups of this oxidative stress, that means that all the things that are breaking things down, things that are pro-inflammatory, things that create huge imbalances in our immune system, so our immune system can't function. All of those things make a difference. And that's why we see the results that we see.
And I know this study in particular is one that that hit close to home with surviving melanoma.
Yeah.
You know, it's very profound. I have been asked multiple times about the fact that there's studies in mice. And I want you to just explain that a little bit, because I think it's helpful for people to understand why that has to happen.
Exactly. Well, in science, it's a weird thing. People are always, oh, well, what's it going to be done in humans? Well, first and foremost, we have done some in humans. And you know what? That's what we're seeing. And those tests are going on and on. Now we can do gene studies. We've done that with our collagen and with our NRF2 combinations. The thing of it is, though, we've got to start. How they did this with the mice was because the mice, their short period of life is a representative. And I apologize for the ambulance going by. Sorry about that. It's the beauty of this business. You can do it anywhere. But here's the thing, when you have those mice over and over, that represents our lifespan in 100 years. Okay, so we can see in a short period of time what we can expect in our gene studies and in our cell studies in humans, because in the mice, they're duplicating over and over, and in their 7-year span or in their little lifespan, it's replicating what we would be in 100 years. And that's really important for people to understand. That's why we do what we do. You know, and take a look at this. 2017, National Institute of Aging, the only supplement tested proven to increase the median survival in mice. So what that showed them is the first time anything, you take whatever else you've got out there that has the potential by extending the life in these mice, they know that it can delay disease and dysfunction in them, that has the potential to help us with that. And that was the exciting part of that. All
I
right,
know that
so
we're all excited.
That brings me to the thing I got the most excited. Of course, yeah, clearly I'm a science nerd. I get so excited about this. But when our True Science collagen came out, I'm not going to lie, I was a little concerned because I knew a lot of people had powders of collagen. I knew it was important, but I was concerned about how we were going to make it and what we were going to do. I should have not been. And I can tell you one of the first things that happened, yes, go back to that. Look at the things, why it's so important. It's more than skin deep. It's everything from preventing hair loss to muscle recovery, cardiovascular flexibility. Are you kidding me? Gut health, bones, and more important than anything, mental health and brain, okay? Sleep quality, eye quality, nail quality, all of those things. Think of collagen as the stuffing in the pillow of our cells. And why we start to see the wrinkles later is as the stuffing in the pillow starts going down, the wrinkles start showing up, just like our pillows get wrinkled when the fluff is not there, okay? So what are we talking about here? How does our liquid collagen work? I want you to think about this. The first comments I was getting when I got on this, people were blown away when they saw my arms, ARM, right? My arms. And that's because what this collagen did that my body needed, even though I was already activated with NRF2 and with NRF1 and some of our other things, it needed the fluff and it activated. The liquid collagen has the ability to activate our own collagen to start being produced again. And we have somewhere around 28 to 30 something proteins involved in that. And some of them you can't take from the outside, you have to make them. So it's important that we activate it. Then we have 10 proteins in this to help us replenish. And that's important. We've got to give ourselves some to build on. So what are these things that activate first and foremost? We've got the ruby red quinoa extract. And look what it does. And again, I'm not going to nerd out on you. Look at all these genes, right? We've got SOD and catalase increased by 2,700% and 202%. Those genes are very responsible in activating our body's ability to make collagen. And look what we saw. From week 1, 30.5 to 68.5. That's 100% increase in your collagen density. Are you kidding me? I mean, I don't know anything else that's been shown to do that. So why not activate? And that red quinoa extract helps those genes to come alive again and to do what they're supposed to. And then after we leave that, we go into the peptides. We talked about those peptides, 10 types of collagen. And guess what? Most competitors have 1 or 2. That's all they can put into a jar. And when they do that, guess what? It makes your hair and your nails nice, but it can't get deeper. It can't do some of the other things we need done. By doing this, we're providing things that provide skin elasticity, skin moisture, that give you a youthful appearance, but you're also helping things like your blood vessels and your heart and your brain to optimize what they can be doing with these peptides because of the ability to get those 10 types into our body. They're absorbed properly. And then, of course, we want to maintain it. What's the best thing we can do? Stop the breakdown, right? If we can slow down the breakdown, we do that through the citrus berry extracts. And look at the things we have here. Those things increase and aid our elastin production. So what you're getting is you're getting a skin that's back toward your youth. And we see that over and over again when we start to see the pictures. But the biggest thing we have is the fact that we've got collagen maintaining by decreasing a gene called MMP9. Look that up, MMP9. It's a huge gene. And when we're doing that, we're doing it by 33%, slowing down that breakdown. So we're activating, we're replenishing, and most important, slowing down the breakdown, which is a great, great, powerful tool. And so when you start seeing our liquid collagen, and oh, by the way, I think the most surprising is A, how many guys we have take it. B, how good it tastes. Everybody loves the taste of it. C, it's clean. That's the number one thing, is it's clean. We didn't have to put a bunch of preservatives and things in it because we put it into that bottle at a really high temperature and don't need to do that. It goes in a glass bottle for that purpose, and that keeps it clean, and I love that. So Kim, why don't you talk a little bit more about the documentation and some of these pictures of what we see?
I think the best is when we have documentation that is going to beat conversation. We can sit and talk about it all day long until we're blue in the face because obviously we're excited. We love LifeVantage. It's our company. But when you see the results, when you feel the results, that is the most profound thing that we have. And my husband is a diehard. He is in a very, very physical role with now owning the sawmill. And prior to collagen, he had some hand and arm pain just being very active. And he got to the point where it was tough to lift weights and he kind of shoved it to the side. When he added our collagen in, just literally life-changing for him. He doesn't get woken up at night anymore with any throbbing pain in his hands or his elbows. It's been amazing. I want to go through some of these pictures because you're going to notice. I want you to look deeply at the fine lines and wrinkles and a lot of the necks and the legs that you're going to see. But I also want you to think about the interior, the inside healing that's also happening when you see a lot of these pictures. It's not just a hair, skin, and nails product. You think about collagen and you think about some people want it for vanity purposes, but collagen is so much more than that. Some of these are just, they blow my socks off when you look at them. The discoloring in the faces, the wrinkles. Hey, I know those legs. Those are famous legs. I think they might belong to Mrs. Dr. Nancy Bryan.
I did not want to ever post those, but you know what? I had to. These things matter to people. And most importantly, yet, I'm happy that they look better, but it also means how much healthier I am. That's the bottom line. If you're seeing this on the outside changes, as Kim said so eloquently, just imagine the impacts. Your heart is a muscle. If those muscles in my legs are that much stronger now that they're filling back out and taking care of all those wrinkles, guess what's happening on the inside with my heart and with my blood vessels? And okay, how about my brain? Okay, these are important things to know and understand. All right, go ahead, Kim.
And men take the product. Like my husband, this is Sean Poe. You can see the drastic changes. There's another set, two sets of legs that are different from Nancy's that you can clearly see what's happening here. One of my favorite of all time is the one on the left of the stomach. In just 20 days, that drastic difference in her skin and the sagging to the hair piece. And I will say, you can see my hair. It's full and bouncy and healthy. I struggled with some hair loss when I had COVID. I did not get sick. I lost my taste and smell, and I had some hair loss. But as you can see, it's like for me, it's been a massive addition in the last couple years to my regimen with LifeVantage products. I won't go a day without it. You can see her hair filling in. There's going to be more right here that for men. I mean, when people look at us, hair is one of the first things that they notice, and I know that for some people, it's a vanity thing, but for some people, it's their arch nemesis. It hurts them because they've had hair loss or they've had chemotherapy where their hair hasn't grown fully back. And we've seen the restorative effects of what activating your body can do at the cellular level to bring that back. But I do want to get into this because I know that this excites you beyond anything that probably ever has in this company, but it's these two paired together.
Oh my God.
And the profound study that came out of NRF2 and our liquid collagen activator together.
Oh my gosh, I can tell you, you know what? There were some of us that were on the science board that when they were going over the studies, first and foremost, we had a chance to be on this early, and we were seeing things we couldn't believe. So that's one of the reasons that they did the gene expression studies to see what was going on. And we absolutely were blown away. I think yeah, and what I love, you can find this information for those of you that like to find it. If you go into our site and you go to the Healthy Glow stack, the Healthy Glow Essentials, I believe it is, you'll find down at the bottom the product information page. This goes through and it kind of explains what the study is. And that's important because we need to be able to explain it in simple terms. But basically, what happened is we're talking about our immune system and the fact that, remember early on when we were talking about all those things that are bombarding our bodies? Well, what happens is as our body gets bombarded with everything from 5G to poor foods to chemicals in our foods and water and emotions, all those things, as it's hitting our immune system is built to have genes trigger so that they turn on something called fibroblasts. Those fibroblasts turn on and look at every area that they affect. They affect everything from the lungs, the brain, the thymus, the spleen, all those different organs. And what they do is they're meant to protect it. So when these things are lambasting our immune system constantly all the time, it keeps making these fibroblasts all the time and it never quiets down. And as a result of it not quieting down, it's supposed to come on and off. That's our healing. The yin and the yang in our cell is the healing of our immune system turning on and then quieting down and then turning on and quieting down. That's how we heal. But the problem is when it's lambasted all the time, it never shuts off. And that's why, guess what? We see so many autoimmune issues. So look at this. In this study, it shows that it helps the fibroblast cells by reducing unnecessary signaling. That thing I'm telling you about. Oh my gosh, I was like in tears about this. It sounds crazy, but unnecessary signaling. Yes, it's giving it that moment to pause and to quiet down a little bit. It gives a chance to recover from that stress. And as a result, it gives a restoration of our optimal function. The cell is now able to optimally function again. There's never been anything, no medications, no nutrients, anything ever proven to do this like this. That is so powerful. And the ability of our NRF2 and our collagen to do that when used together, it is just beyond words. And it just goes to show when we take a look in this study, when I saw those words and what it did, unnecessary signaling reduced, wow, that is just such a huge thing. You hear of anti-inflammatory drugs, right? The problem with those is they shut it off all the time. Well, guess what? It's the flow of on and off and on and off, just like our NRF2 pathway, on and off and on and off. And when we get those two working together, it just optimizes how every cell can function better, which leads to every system working or every organ working better and the whole system working better. It's just incredible.
And that's what's called the Healthy Glow Essential
yes.
Stack. Yes.
And you can find it in our website. You can find that page we just showed at the bottom of that.
So we can move on to a few other products that our company has. Right here, you see that we have the Tri-Synergizer. We've gone over NRF2, which is the antioxidant pathway That is the one that reduces oxidative stress by 40% in 30 days. It boosts our glutathione by 300% and so much more. The next one is NRF1. And I have to say that when this came into production 3 weeks after we joined the company, I was extremely excited about this one because of the connection it has to not only energy, but sleep. And I have to say, though, when I first started NRF1, I felt like I kind of went backwards a little bit, where I was a little bit more tired. And I know that you'll discuss that a little bit. But for each time that you add a product in like this, your body goes through somewhat of a healing crisis per se. But we needed to, I obviously had a lot of mitochondrial dysfunction. So when I got on the product, um, there was a lot of, I guess, needed, my mitochondria needed help. And I know that you were going to
Absolutely,
talk a little bit about that.
absolutely. So, well, as we talked about with the cell, we have the two major components in our cell, the yin and the yang. We have the mitochondria, and the mitochondria are what take in food and oxygen, and they give the cell the energy. Whatever that cell's purpose is, it gives it the energy to operate, okay? The problem is it has a little byproduct, like a car burning gasoline, if you will. It leaves an oxygen uncoupled. You know, I tell you're taking in food and oxygen that's O2. Well, when those combine, all of a sudden now there's an oxygen that's O1. It's bouncing around going, hey, I don't know where my buddy is. What do I do? And so we have the NRF2 pathway. That's what it does. It comes in and neutralizes that oxygen that's bouncing around that doesn't know what to do, that free radical that doesn't know where to go and what to do. So that NRF2 pathway is signaled to come on. But what we need to do as we start aging, another thing that we find out is mitochondria gets damaged from all of that. And so we need to find a way to increase our mitochondrial health and production. Well, a lot of people will go to the gym, you build up your muscles or whatever. That's one way. But guess what we found out? You can actually take an NRF1 synergizer, combination of ingredients, again, tiny amounts that are taken in like a food source. And what they do is it actually is proven to not only aid in the health of the mitochondria, but actually create mitochondrial biogenesis. Yes, big word. What that means is we make more mitochondria. And I can tell you that as that process happens, as you experience, some people, when they first start, I was one as well, my body got a little bit tired at first because it was like all this stuff was starting to happen. And guess what? As the mitochondria got better, it was getting out more of the NRF2, more trash. And so it took my body about a month of taking the NRF1 to start feeling the real uplift of it. And boy, now I'll never go without it because boy, it makes such a huge impact. It even changed a little bit of my muscles and what I looked like. People were like, are you working out more? Which was kind of crazy. And then we have the NAD. Go ahead, Kim.
Well, the NAD, when I took this, I remember being at a field advisory board meeting when this product launched, and they handed us this unlabeled bottle and said, you can take 2 right now. In that meeting, 30 minutes later, I could feel it. And I felt like it's hard to even describe, but I felt like all cylinders were firing. I felt a lot of energy. But when you actually do the deeper digging in this, I know I love your explanation of it, but this is the cleanup crew in our cells, and it is going to get the trash out, which for me, that's very important, especially what I've been up against and my genetic I guess, profile at the challenges that I've had. This has been a very key product for me. And I know it would be for anyone because everybody could be on this product or all 3 of these products. And I've always looked at it as, yes, I started out with the best, and then it became better when they added NRF2. And now you can't get as good as it gets when you're taking the Tri-Synergizer. And I'm sure that you can agree with that.
Absolutely. And you know what? How I look at our NAD is it's sort of the turbo. The NRF1 and the NRF2 are optimizing that cell. And now we're the turbo. That's the general. It's making sure that that NRF1 and NRF2 operate to the best of their capacity. And by doing so, it really becomes the cleanup pathway because it's really ensuring that the whole cell overall has its senescence, which means it's talking to the genes. It's making sure things are happening. And remember, we started this conversation talking about activation. That's the key, is that we're activating all these genes to be doing the proper function. And that way they don't have to fall back into trying to flip the genes that are trying to protect us, but may have a lot of deleterious effects to them. And so that's why I love the combination of all three of them and having optimizing our cellular function. And so look at this. We have other products too. I love our NRF2 activation in hair. And you know what? What I love the most is we see people that a lot of people don't understand a hair follicle. When you have a hair follicle, it can produce several hairs. It can produce many hairs when it's optimized and doing its best. When it starts weakening and getting beat up and tired, it may go down to just a couple of hairs. That's why we see thinning. And I do tell people that if you have someone that has male pattern baldness or whatever, and that follicle is already dead, it's not going to be revived. But what I can tell you is if it's still functioning to any degree, this is going to optimize how well it works. And when you take a look at this, one last thing I want to mention, when we're talking about our cells, we want to minimize how much trash is going into it, right? Well, the scalp skin absorbs something like 70 times more than our other areas of our body because it's where our heat comes and goes and where we let off and can control. So our brain doesn't get too hot and our brain can let these things out. But at the same time, if it's 70% more absorbing, when you're putting in bad chemicals on top of your head, they're going right where your brain is. So we want to be able to keep things clean. And I love that our hair care products are very clean, helping us to maintain not only the healthy follicles, but doing it in a manner that enhances and activates our whole body from having less chemicals pushed on it. It's all plant-based. And again, it like you and I both have experienced, you know what? I had lost all of my hair during chemotherapy. I was just hoping to have hair again. And I'm so happy to have the healthy hair that I have today so that I can use these products and they just enhance it. And then, of course, we're talking about NRF2 activation for the skin. Oh my gosh. You take a look on the left side, you see what happens with the chemicals, retinol. It plumps up the skin so it looks better, but it does it by making those cells bloated. The problem with that is you're doing unusual things to the cells, not the things they're used to doing. And as a result of that, you can create a lot of problems on the skin surface. It can get crusty. It can have irritations. More importantly, it can be a precursor to creating precancerous cells. I don't like that. You look on the right, what you're seeing is a natural progression of what skin dermis is supposed to look like, feeding from the bottom up to the top and doing it in a very healthy progression. And what I love is how clean our skincare system is. Now we have a whole skincare system that's been advanced, and there's nothing like it being able to act just like retinol with none of the side effects of retinol. It's just so exciting, the things that we're seeing. And it makes a huge difference when you have psoriasis and all these different skin ailments to be able to make a difference, not only from the inside, but from the outside. It's really, truly one of those things that is helpful. And of course, we got to bring in our pets. I told you that was one of my biggest passions. And you know what? They have the NRF2 pathways too. They need the same things we do. They need their coats taken care of. They need their skin taken care of. They need everything taken care of from a perspective of their bodies activating just like us. And look at the dog on the left. They're brothers. They're from the same place, but one of them gets pet tandem and the other doesn't. Look at the skin of that poor pet that has all that inflammation and bumps. And oh my goodness, do you think that horse is living a better life Those are things that make a huge difference. Our collagen and omegas included also help with this, but the pet tandem itself was designed to help with their NRF2 activation, and then we take it from there. Kim, you want to talk a little bit about our Axio, our brain food? This is a
I
biggie.
would love to. This is actually one of my most favorite products on our line. They all are, but I cannot live without a daily, probably Axio times two, sometimes three. But if you haven't tried this, you need to. This is actual brain food that it will improve your mental clarity, your mental endurance, your concentration, the acuity. I love that. So I can feel it as soon as I drink it, literally. I know that, it, for me, it's helped me actually deal with a lot of stress. I just feel more mentally calm and stable. I feel like my brain always is firing on all cylinders when I drink it. And it lasts for hours. Like I literally can feel it when I don't have an Axio every day. But the brain fog, people going through menopause, perimenopause, brain fog. I don't feel that. I just and I love that it's clean. And we have, no junk in it. I'm a big label reader. I'm a big person on making sure what goes inside my body is clean and healthy. I'm gluten-free. I love the fact that there aren't any artificial sweeteners or flavors. I know it says natural flavors, and I know Nancy will touch on that a little bit. But it's from the fruit. It's not, we don't have any synthetics in our products, especially this one. And we do have decaf and caffeinated options. You can see here, we've got the dragon fruit pictured on the left, and dragon fruit is actually the #1 seller in our company. But I want to move over to the right side and talk to you a little bit about this, Nancy, because this is the brain of a child who struggled with ADD. And this is, in my opinion, so unbelievable when you take a mixture of our products, including Axio as one of them, and you go from that left side to the right side, and how much more improvement this child, like a higher quality of life. And I know that there is a difference between our caffeinated version and our decaf version, and I would love for you to explain that difference and where our caffeine is sourced. And the DMAE, that's incredible.
Absolutely. Well, first and foremost, it's all plant-based. And I will tell you that one of the main reasons I got involved in this company, yes, I had tremendous results myself, but I had a dear friend with a child with autism, and they had struggled because it was severe autism. They had struggled with her for a number of years. And she was basically fairly nonverbal. She was at a point where they were having to put medications on her, and they were actually at a point where she was worried that Child Protective Services were going to take her. And she called me one day and she said, Nancy, please help me. Is there anything that you can think of? And I don't know why, but I grabbed the Axio and I grabbed the NRF2 and I ran over. And I can tell you that in a 4 or 5 day time frame, things started calming down for her enough that it started making such an impact. Today, she is, we're talking 6, 7 years later, she was able to go into school. She was able to start doing things. My favorite story is that when her dad would leave every day, he would hug her mom and then he'd say, goodbye, Adrian. And as he was walking out the door, she spread out her arms to hug him and she said, Dad. And he couldn't believe it. He stopped in his tracks and he was able to give her a hug. So often with severe autism, they have sensitivity issues, and that's just not something that ever happens. Today, she's growing an organic garden with her mom and canning. This has made such a huge impact in their family. And that was at the point in time as I saw that I knew I had to start sharing this with other people. And what I love is that the differences are between the decaf and the caffeinated. Oftentimes you'll hear with kids with ADD and ADHD, they put them on Ritalin, they put them on things that are like amphetamine like, and that seems ridiculous, but it sort of helps to trigger the brain to slow down. It's counterintuitive how it works, but Axio is very much like that, but in a plant-based form. And what I think it does is it just, again, balances that chemistry in the brain. The DMAE is very good at that. And so the caffeinated version is tiny amounts. It's not a massive amount of caffeine. It's like maybe like, I don't know, like a quarter cup of coffee maybe. And I even hate to not even compare it to that because it's green tea, and it's green tea that is grown in an area where we also have L-theanine combined with it. And as a result, you get just a gentle lift, and then it gently goes away. It was actually developed for athletes. The LifeVantage company developed it and helped with the Salt Lake Real soccer team. And if you notice anything with our soccer fans out there, LifeVantage is across their jersey because this was an entity they could take without having to worry about drug enhancement or enhancements for their performance. It was not a performance enhancing entity because it's plant-based, and it would gently help them focus as they got toward the end of their game. It'd keep them in the game and still have the energy level they needed that they had when they started. And the brain mapping here that's shown goes to show you the excitement level that is reduced by just taking the Axio. This was done in a mere, a small amount of time. And as a result of it, without it being a drug, it's so nice that it's just plant-based, giving our brain what it needs to calm down and to actually be able to focus and be utilizing the proper signaling.
I know that it's been very life-changing for so many people that customers and some of my close friends that are consultants and their children and have been very successful at utilizing these products versus going another route with a pharmaceutical and not having to even go there, which has been, that to me is the most important thing, because again, everything we have is plant-based and very healthy. And, in my opinion, obviously, and most opinions, that is the ideal way to go. We're just going to briefly run through the rest of our products here, but obviously, all disease starts in the gut. It's very, very important to take care of our gut health. And I know that I have a whole host of people on our probiotic who don't ever want to come off of it because it's so different from what they've taken before. And I've seen some very profound before and afters. And I know that we can't make any claims, and I'm not here to do that. But, I see this a lot of times when you're dealing with somebody with skin issues as well, that start to kind of resolve themselves over time. That's because you are, well, it's a combination of activation, but also of what's happening inside of your gut. And our probiotic has the delayed release technology that delivers the beneficial bacteria to the deep inside your gut. And it has a 60% survival rate. And I know that other probiotics that you can go buy off the shelf have a 4% survival rate. There's a drastic difference. And this isn't a break the bank product either. It's very affordably priced, and I love it. And I do love our prebiotic drink that is incredible, the blood orange flavor, which is kind of the fertilizer for the probiotic, that helps with another, a next level healthy gut environment. It helps maintain balanced blood sugar levels. It helps you suppress your appetite. I don't know if you want to add anything, because I know that, you utilize these products very heavily as well, and kind of what you've seen.
Well, I think a couple of the things that I really like to bring up, and I saw them in some of the chat, was, what we have this thing that's called the gut brain relationship. And a lot of our neurotransmitters that are what keep our brain calm and what make our brain work, things like serotonin and a few other things, they are actually made in the gut with these proper probiotics. That they get things made and it's delivered up to the brain through the gut brain axis. And so it's really important to not only offer our body bringing back good probiotics, because our food sources today have so many antibiotic sources in them, they kill a lot of the stuff we have. But more importantly, I also like our prebiotic because it's going to feed all the microorganisms we have in our body. And that's really, really, really important when it comes to blood sugar balance. And as a result of that, it also helps to maintain proper candida levels and things like yeast that can start getting out of balance as we get too many of our gut bacteria injured. And so it just is, again, activating our body to keep these balances straight. And it affects everything from how our gut feels and how it works to suppressing appetite to how our brain works. All
And
right,
here's
so
just another few products
yep.
that we can just breeze over if you want.
Yeah, and you know what? Again, the daily wellness we came up with elderberry acai flavor. The main idea is there's some minor elements that we're missing, some vitamin C. This product came out during COVID because I had a million people bugging the heck out of me about what to take. It's got some zinc in it. It's got some proper things. I love mixing daily wellness with our prebiotic and an axio, and that's how I start my day. I know I saw earlier people asking when you should take things. I prefer to take the Tri-Synergizer pack, the omegas, and the Icy Bright for my eyes and keep my eye function. I'm turning 70 and I can still read the tiniest print. People are like, you are weird. You're like a unicorn. And then the D3 that I had a huge impact in helping to formulate, because we got to keep our bones strong. Our bones are the center of our immune system. They keep everything in the bones. They're the keeper of our body, but the D3 signals along with other micronutrients that we have to have there. And like everything, it's a chemistry circle. It's not a linear line, it's a circle. And all of these things go to helping. The omegas are going to be the shield around every cell, helps the cell signaling. And these are things that I like to take in the morning. The thing of it is that there are certain things. We have an AM PM that we have now that is designed. The PM is, as it says, the micronutrients that you need when you're resting and sleeping. The whole idea is the Rise AM was to be able to put together the things you need in the daytime to wake you up and make you feel better and help you optimize activation during the day. The PM is there to help you to at nighttime. When you wake up at nighttime, when you're sleeping and you wake up, it's because your body's going, hey, dummy, get up. You need to go get me this stuff. I don't have enough of these things to fix myself. That's what the Reset PM is there for, to give you those micronutrients so your body can be doing its healing and what it's supposed to be doing and repairing at nighttime. And I've had so many people tell me how much it's helped with their sleep cycle. Mm-hmm. So the bottom line is, you know what? We are here to meet you where you're at. Do you want to have a start with an NRF2 and collagen to reset your whole immune system and have everything set? All the way to, you know what? We have a package that includes all of these things for optimizing all of your cells, all the way through to your organs and systems.
Exactly. And, just like everyone in this company, when I looked at this, I wasn't sure at first if I was going to do the business piece of it, because I had done a business prior. I was actually just getting out of a crazy situation, which I will briefly touch on. And there was some big things that were, I guess, reasons why I joined LifeVantage and nothing else, and why I will never join any other company. We are truly an anomaly. We are leading the way in activation products. There's nothing that can touch this. But one of the biggest things is that I was in one other company, and I'm very, very loyal. When I associate myself with something and I want to share it with other people, I want to make sure it's 100% legitimate. And the company that I was in prior to this ended up closing. and with no warning. Manufacturing got out of control. It was an organic personal care and cleaning product company, and I found myself where I had built a big enough business to leave my job with the county, and I had earned an incentive trip, and I had also earned a dinner with the owner and the owner's daughter. And 3 weeks after we left and got home from that trip, the company closed its doors, and they knew all along that they were planning to close while they were on our trip with us. And they rebranded it into another company. The problem that I had was the lack of transparency, and I felt, that I was lied to. And I had a major issue with that. So when LifeVantage was presented to me, my husband looked at it and he said, "Wow, this is a publicly traded company. This is on the NASDAQ." He looked up the stock and he said, "So that's a plus right there." He was the one who was right away, you know, this might be something we want to look at. If he wanted the products. What you guys don't know about my husband Brody is that um, he doesn't have health issues, knock on wood. He's very fit, very healthy, but everyone on his dad's side of his family has passed away from massive heart attacks and heart disease. Brody is there's two males left, I believe, and Brody's one of them. And he would constantly joke with me about the fact that I would maybe have, until he was, mid 50s, because his dad was the oldest and he passed away at 55 when Brody was 21 years old. Well, my husband turned 47 years old yesterday, and that's the age that one of his uncles died. And that's scary to me. So he knew right away that he wanted to be a part of this. He wanted to take it for being proactive. I was dealing with a reactive situation, reactive health crisis. He wanted to be proactive. And the fact that he was paying attention was the biggest thing. Now, I don't care what people decide. I really don't. But when you look at LifeVantage and where it's at, and the fact that we have 60,000 US consultants, less than 100,000 worldwide. We're headquartered out of Utah, which also, mind you, we manufacture our products out of Utah. We're publicly traded. Our company is debt free. That is big for me. The transparency, being debt free, that's a big deal. We also have our new enhanced compensation plan for people that could potentially be looking at this, because I understand that, people are looking at maybe just being a customer of the products and wanting to try it. But there's a whole realm of people out there, okay? Like everybody has been suffering since COVID, whether it's health or whether it's financial. We do have solutions for anyone if they so choose to move forward with either one of those. But this new compensation plan for the next generation of entrepreneurs is incredible. The social selling for people that are influencers that want to come in and just want to work with customers and put people on these amazing products that don't want to build a team. You don't have to do that. You can build a business of leveraged income as well. And one of the most incredible things, the difference between my prior company and this company, is the fact that every month everything reset in my other company. In this, I have the same customers that I've had for almost 8 years. May 3rd, it'll be our 8-year anniversary. And I have watched these products literally, like I could get emotional about it, because I have some people on here tonight that I've seen that are on our team that have had some of the most profound testimonies that you could ever imagine, just because I shared the information. This is a life-changing situation. The business and the products completely changed our lives. So you can look at it in which way direction that you want, or not at all, and it's totally okay. But LifeVantage, what we have is real. You are able to come in with a turnkey business. We have an app, we have systems that are built. You don't have to hold on to assets or inventory. Things are shipped directly to people's home. But the most important thing that being a part of LifeVantage has been for me, on top of the products, is the culture, and the community is unbeatable. It's how I met you. It's all the beautiful faces on here. A lot of them I recognize from 8 years ago. And you don't see that often. You know, Nancy and I didn't even know each other 8 years ago. And now we're going to get on an airplane and go to 4 states next month and do meetings together. And we're traveling and we're sharing this information with people. Like I said before, you could build a network of customers and share it as you wish, or not at all. Or you can build a customer or a network of consultants and customers and share your face off like I do. When this changed my life, the biggest thing that I thought to myself is there's no way I can keep this to myself. I had to share it, because if it was going to help me, I knew it was going to help a lot of people, which has led to thousands upon thousands of yeses. And I know it has for you, because you've been in the company a lot longer than I have. And it's been one of the biggest blessings that we could have ever imagined. Um, there's it's obvious that there's 3 ways to get in. You can come in as a customer and try out the products. You can join our movement and help us spread the word on how amazing LifeVantage is, activation is. And then you might be undecided or maybe not even interested, and that's okay too. I do appreciate everybody getting on the Zoom tonight. I appreciate Nancy for taking the time out of her evening. And I just want to thank you. I do want you to follow up with the person that invited you to this meeting tonight, to discuss whatever way you choose to go with this. I do hope that this information was helpful. I know it always is for me, especially when I listen to Nancy speak. So thank you for hopping on. I'm going to end the presentation for the night, and then we will go ahead and open for questions.